Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be looking at a band I have not heard of before. Seems to be a common theme going on at the moment. A little while ago I was contacted by a guy called Gustav, who asked me to have a look at his latest album that was released. Apparently it was released in April last year, but he's wanting to try and get some more attention brought towards it, and he asked me to have a look at his band Mindistry, or Mindistry. It's like ministry with a D in it. Anyway, so he released an album called Katastroftankar, which I believe means can say the Swedish one, but I can't say the English translation. I believe it means disaster thoughts. And, you know, as normal, you know, I asked him if he could provide some information about the band. Now, apparently, this is industrial metal. As it currently stands, he is the only member of the band. He recorded the rhythm guitars, the vocals, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. The drums and bass, I believed, were provided by someone else. But he's the only, like, actual member of the band, heavily influenced by bands such as Raubtier, Creator, Sabaton, and Rammstein. But it has a lot of him, or a lot of me, as he puts it, in the music. So, you know, it's mostly him, but he's influenced by these other bands. And he describes it as saying, the genre is somewhat of a quite tasty cocktail containing thrash and industrial metal. Now, as I mentioned, he is from Sweden, so the actual album itself is sung in Swedish. He has been generous enough to provide me with translation to the track that we're going to look at today. Now, we're going to look at a track called Mardröm, which I believe means nightmare. So I'm rather curious about this. You know, I like industrial metal, I really enjoy Rammstein, I like thrash metal. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what this is like. So we'll just jump straight into this and see what we've got. So, Mardröm by Mindistry, or Mindistry. However, see what we've got.
Andetag. Bered dig på ännu en dag som är laddad med ångest och tankar av skam. Klarar du vägen kan du ta dig fram genom den väg som så stolt står fast. Präglar ditt liv, dra ditt lass. Ångest, vemod, frustrationer, allt du upplevt på vår jord. Även om du känner vad som komma skall, så vet du att livet hårt och kallt. Given en handliten tragedi, medans mörkret de red i vardagsstig. Det som du gått på i hela ditt liv, ljusen sprängs, deras stig. Jag kan inte undkomma att jag snart dör här. Väggarna de viskar ner i misär. Klockorna står still men tiden går ändå. Den mentala barriären genomgår psykos. Solen strålar, lämnar dig nu. Natten viskar onda ljud. Kommer din saga få ett dystert slut, eller tar du dig i kragen och kan rätta din rygg? Där det finns en vilja finnas det en kamp som av dig kan vinnas trots dödens fall. Kan inte undkomma att jag snart dör här. Väggarna de viskar ner i misär. Klockorna står still men tiden går ändå. Den mentala barriären genomgår psykos.
There we go. Mardröm by Mindistry, or Mindistry, I'm not sure how they pronounce it. That was really, really good. That was actually an excellent piece of music. Couldn't help but notice the excessive use of The Evil Dead in the background of that music video, or lyric video, should I say. So, how he got away with that, I really don't know. But, yeah, very, very catchy piece of music. You know, you can tell the influences there. You know, there's a very definitive sort of Rammstein sort of essence to the music, but again, he has sort of made it his own as well, in his own way. And you know, hearing it in Swedish, you know, it really lends itself to the sound as well, and kind of pushes it more towards sounding like Rammstein, I think. But still, a very, very good piece of music. You know, the actual music itself was brilliant. You know, the riffs were heavy, they were chunky, they sounded really great. In the back, you had the sort of keyboards, which had a very sort of ethereal sound to it. I really enjoyed that piece of music. You know, it had a good groove to it. You know, it was brilliant. It was really, really good. Now, like I said, the title of the track, Mardröm, means nightmare. Or I believe it means nightmare. That's the translation I got for it anyway. And the actual song itself, it sounds like it's dealing with mental health issues, possibly. Like I said, he's given me the translation of the lyrics. Some of the translated lines don't necessarily make sense, but I can see what he's going for. Again, you got to bear in mind, not necessarily his first language, so excuse me. Now it says, take a deep painful breath, get ready for another day which is loaded with anxiety and thoughts of shame. If you manage the road you can get there, though the wall that so profoundly through the wall that so proudly stands shapes your life, pull your load. So this is like waking up in the morning, you know, take a deep, painful breath and get ready for another day. So it's like trying to face another day of, and it says, which is loaded with anxiety and thoughts of shame. So, you know, you wake up in the morning, you take a deep breath and go, right, I'm going to have to deal with another day of this bullshit, you know, another day of stress, anxiety, possibly depression, stuff like that. It's saying if you can manage the road, you can get there. So it's like if you just push yourself forward, if you push yourself on, you will get there. It won't be easy, but you know, just keep pushing forward. You can make it. You know, push yourself through the wall that so proudly stands. You know, push yourself through the wall that's sort of blocking your way. Push your way through the doubts, the anxiety. You know, keep fighting and push forward. Anxiety, melancholy, frustration is everything you have experienced so far. Even if you know what is to come, you know all life hard and cold. Given a hand like a tragedy while darkness surrounds your chosen path, the one you've been on all your life, the lights burst out, it's their time. Yeah. So some of these lines are a little bit confusing, like I said, but again, this is a translation from another language, which isn't, you know, and English isn't necessarily their first language, so it might make more sense in another way. You know, anxiety, melancholy, and frustration is everything you have experienced so far. You know, you've been through all this already. You know, you've experienced it so far, so you know what's coming. It's not going to be easy, but carry on, push through. It says, even if you know what is to come, you know all life hard and cold. That I'm not so sure about. You know, you've known this all your life. You know this is the cold, hard truth of life and existence itself. This is given a hand like a tragedy. I'm not sure about that. While darkness surrounds your chosen path, the one you've been on all your life. So, you know, these sort of things have been around you all your life. You know, they've been with you every step of the way. So, you know that you can overcome these and bypass these, possibly. I don't know. Then he goes, I cannot escape that I will soon die here. The walls they whisper are pure misery. The bells are still, but time goes by. My mental barrier can't take it. Psychosis. So, I cannot escape that I will soon die here. You know, that's unavoidable, you know. The walls they whisper are pure misery. I'm not sure about that. The bells are still, but time goes by. My mental barrier can't take it. Psychosis. You know, so time carries on, and he's obviously struggling. You know, my mental barrier can't take it. You know, I'm constantly being bombarded with anxiety, stress, depression, whatever, mental health problems, if you will. And he's having trouble dealing with it, and eventually lead him to psychosis, you know, possibly a mental break, you know, because he's being pushed too hard and too far. I don't know. The rays of the sun, they leave you now. The night whispers evil sounds. Will your tale have a gloomy end, or will you grab yourself by the collar and straighten your back? Where there is a will, there is a way that can be won by you despite the tunes of death. I can't read today. So the rays of the sun leave you now. The night whispers evil sounds. So as we sort of head into the darkness, you know, you're sort of falling into that darkness, the depression, you know, falling into that dark mentality where you're sort of starting to think there's no hope, you know, I can't deal with this. That's it. It says, will your tale have a gloomy end, or will you grab yourself by the collar and straighten your back? So it's like, are you just going to submit into this? Are you just going to let this happen? Are you just going to sit by and go, okay, I can't deal with this, and just let the anxiety and that overtake you? Or are you just going to stand there and go, no, do you know what? I'm not going to let this happen to me today. I'm going to push forward. I'm going to fight through this, and I'm going to carry on. You know, he's saying, are you just going to let it consume you, or are you going to push through this? And he says, where there's a will, there is a way that can be won by you despite the tunes of death. So if you put in the effort, you can overcome this. You know, even if there is this constant nagging sensation, even if there's people sort of whispering in your ear, even if there's this little voice in the back of your head saying, you can't do this. If you put in the effort, you can get through this. You can do this. You will do this if you put in the effort. Where there's a will, there's a way. Then it goes back into that really sort of catchy chorus sounding thing. It says, I cannot escape that I will soon die here. The walls they whisper are pure misery. The bells are still, but time goes by. My mental barrier undergoes psychosis. So it's similar to the first time we heard that, but the last line is changed ever so much. Ever so much, ever so slightly. God, what is wrong with me today? Anyway. I can no longer answer who I am. Load the rifle, feed the saw, feel how it eats. Laughs best who laughs last, where I now stand. When the stolen body you stain is split in two. Now, there's a line there that I think I know what it means, but it's just sort of backwards. I can no longer answer who I am. So is he sort of now so confused by everything that's going on, he can no longer differentiate himself from his mental struggles, possibly. Load the rifle, feed the saw, feel how it eats. Now this line, laughs best who laughs last, where now I stand. Now I think that's along the lines of he who laughs last laughs loudest. So it's like, if you have the last laugh, you know, you will be triumphant. You know, if you come out of this on top, you will, you know, you will be the better person, possibly. And when the stolen body you stain is split in two. Now this could be suggestive of like a multiple personality, possibly, you know, the anxiety splitting them into two different people. You know, the side of him that's constantly saying, you know, you can't do this, you're a failure, this, that, and the other, and the other side going, come on, you can do this. You know, you just got to ignore what other side is saying, you know, you can do this, you can push through it, you know. Possibly? I don't know. It's very hard to determine. But like I said, it's a great piece of music. I very, very much enjoyed it. You know, the vocal performance was brilliant. The musical performance was fantastic. You know, I thought this was an amazing piece of music. He did send me a second track to look at, which I might do in a couple of days' time, just to get a more sort of rounded idea of the sort of music that he's been creating. But for the most part, I really like it. And yeah, I actually hope that this really sort of catches on, because it was brilliantly performed. I think it was very, very good. But I don't know what else I can say about that, so I'll leave that as it is. Now, if you enjoyed this video, maybe consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribe if you're not already, because that would considerably help me out. And yeah, thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.